Did you know that one of the most powerful kings in history had a childhood nickname that means the Great? This was none other than Louis XIV of France, a man whose reign lasted an incredible 72 years. That's longer than any other monarch in European history. A king so influential that even today, phrases like "the state is me" are attributed to him, showing just how intertwined his identity was with the nation of France. Why should you care about Louis XIV? Well, his life is full of drama, intrigue, and valuable lessons that are surprisingly relevant, even if you don't like history. His reign transformed France into a leading European power and changed the way monarchs ruled forever. Let's dive into the intriguing life of this fascinating figure. Louis XIV was born on September 5, 1638, in Saint-Germain-en-Laye, France. He was the son of King Louis XIII and Anne of Austria. Imagine being a young boy knowing that one day all of France would be under your rule. It's a lot of pressure, and for much of his early life, Louis was not truly in control. After the death of his father in 1643, Louis became king at the tender age of 4. Can you imagine being a king at 4 years old? Of course, he did not actually rule until he was older. His mother served as regent and handled affairs of the state during his childhood. However, the early years of his reign were marked by instability and conflict. France was facing a series of uprisings known as the Fronde, which tested the young king's resolve. These uprisings were led by nobles who wanted to maintain power and keep the young king from taking control. Do you think being king at such a young age was easy? Louis learned quickly that to be a successful ruler, you have to command respect. When Louis reached adulthood, he decisively took power into his own hands. In 1661, he famously declared, "L'État, c'est moi," which means "I am the state." This wasn't just a catchy phrase, it embodied his belief in absolute monarchy. He centralized power in the Palace of Versailles, which became both his home and the seat of government. Building Versailles was an enormous task, but it was also a masterstroke in demonstrating his power and control. It was lavish, extravagant, and a way to keep the nobility close, under his watchful eye. Every detail was meant to reflect his greatness. The gardens, the opulence, the grand halls all were designed to impress and intimidate. Louis XIV knew that to maintain power, he needed to keep nobility busy and distracted. So, he invited them to Versailles but controlled their every move. This is an interesting takeaway: power can often be about perception and control. By throwing extravagant parties and social gatherings, he was able to keep an eye on potential rivals. However, Louis XIV wasn't just about luxury and control. He was also a patron of the arts and culture. He believed a strong culture solidified his reign, and he opened academies for dance, arts, and sciences. Famous playwrights, composers, and dancers flourished under his patronage. Think about it: could a king today do the same? Louis' support of the arts led to some of the greatest achievements in French culture. Not to mention, he made France a trendsetter in Europe, setting standards that others would follow. But not everything was perfect under his rule. His aggressive foreign policy led to numerous wars. The most infamous was the War of the Spanish Succession, which drained France's resources. He was so intent on expanding his territory that he didn't consider the long-term consequences. This is a real lesson for all of us. Sometimes, focusing too much on what we want can lead to unintended consequences. Despite the challenges, Louis XIV's reign laid the foundation for modern France. By the time of his death in 1715, France was a powerful nation, and his legacy was cemented. He died at the age of 76, leaving behind a mixed legacy of absolute power, culture, and controversy. So why should you remember Louis XIV? Ultimately, his story shows us the highs and lows of leadership, ambition, and the cost of power. Whether you like history or not, these lessons resonate with our lives today. If you found this journey through the life of Louis XIV interesting, make sure to like this video. Share your thoughts in the comments and let me know what you learned about the Sun King, or if there's another figure you want to explore.